I'll tell you what we're doing today. So today we are going to do a core and pelvic floor focused flow. And it's also going to have a little bit of attention to lower back pain release. So those kind of areas are all interlinked. So when we work on our core and our pelvic floor, we're working to actually strengthen the core and the pelvic floor, which helps strengthen around the spine, which is going to help you if you have lower back pain. So that whole area around your hips, around your pelvis, around your core, that's all linked to your spine. So hopefully some of the stretches and the poses that we go through today are going to help you guys if you do have lower back pain, which is a really, really common one. We all seem to suffer from it. Whenever I ask you guys what you want to do, lower back pain always comes up. So we're going to try and talk a little bit about that today. As always, if you have any injuries, any aches or pains, anything that is bothering you, just being extra mindful of those areas. So, you know, you want to be careful of your body anyway, especially because I'm not there to make sure that you're okay, but at the end of the day, you know your body better than anyone else. So if something feels wrong, that generally means it is. So you want to take a break, take a breather, have a drink of water, pause, rejoin us when you're ready. Always do as much or as little of the class as you would like. It's your time, it's your class, you don't have to do it all. Try and offer a couple of versions of some poses. So yeah, if you need to take a break, absolutely do. Remember that yoga is so much more than our physical asanas. So if your practice today is that you want to spend the next 45 minutes lying down on your mat, just breathing with your eyes closed, then by all means be my guest. So we're going to find ourselves in a nice comfortable seated position. So a couple of options here, which I realized that I haven't offered you guys before. So if you want to, you can sit cross-legged. We want to plant our sit bones. If this is uncomfortable for you, you can put a block or a rolled up blanket underneath your sit bones, underneath your bottoms. You can also sit in hero pose with a cushion or something between your legs if you'd like to. So we want to bring ourselves into a nice comfortable seat. Palms are going to rest on your knees, drop the shoulders, lengthen up through the spine, and just gently engaging your core and pulling your pelvic floor in. Close your eyes and drop the shoulders. Let's take a nice deep inhale through the nose, sitting tall, and as you exhale, reverse the breath, pull the navel inwards. So again, we inhale, we fill our lungs, one smooth movement for the inhale, and reverse the breath again, smooth movement for the exhale, pulling the navel in, allowing all of that air to escape. Feeling that breath wash through you. And as we tune into our breath, we're going to start to tune out our surroundings. So filtering out anything that is not serving us in this moment. Maybe you want to use a visual and take an imaginary broom to sweep your mind clear of any clutter. So we can make space for our practice, space for our breath. So we're going to start with our core and pelvic floor right here at the beginning of the class, just so that we know what area we are accessing when I shout those things at you, so that you're not kind of like, I don't know what that means. So as you breathe, and you can keep your eyes closed for this because I'm just going to use visuals because we're going to go inside into our muscles so you can't really see it anyway. So your core, that is kind of, well, exactly what it is. It's the core of your body, and it's going to feel kind of like you're doing ab work if we're doing any core exercises. You want that area to be nice and strong. So when you engage your core, a good visual is, imagine you're putting on a really tight pair of jeans and you are doing them all the way up. And as you do them up, you're kind of, you know, when you suck in, you make your tummy really hard. So that's engaging your core. As you do that, you want to keep your shoulders down. Try not to pull them up to your ears. So we're really only engaging those muscles. It's impossible to keep the core engaged at 100% all of the time. So let's try and keep it somewhere between 30 and 50 as we go through the class. Your pelvic floor is kind of like a little hammock that holds all your pelvic organs in place. So when we engage the pelvic floor, it's going to feel a little bit like we are holding for the toilet. We're really, really desperate. You know those feelings. And you want to kind of feel that engagement. So it's quite hard to engage the core and pelvic floor at the same time. So we're going to try and do them separately. And again, when you're engaging the pelvic floor, you want to make sure those shoulders are down. So just so that you guys have like a brief idea of what we're going to be working on today. And just keep breathing here. We're going to drop our shoulders back down, lengthen the spine, inhale. And exhale. As you tune back into your breath, I want you guys to set yourselves a small intention for the class ahead. It can be absolutely anything. It doesn't have to be posture related. It can be that you remember to cue your own breath. And exhale. And let's start to gently mobilize. So we're going to start at the neck. Just a little couple of rolls here. Little half moons rolling from shoulder to shoulder. If you want to, you can turn that into a full head roll. Remember to send it both ways. As you're moving your neck, you want to keep the rest of your body still. And then we're going to start to work down to our shoulders. So again, you can keep a little bit of movement in your neck here if you want to, and it doesn't have to be regimented. You can get a little bit of movement, a little bit of a freestyle going on there with the shoulders. So maybe you want to do one shoulder at a time. Maybe you like that double shoulder roll, getting nice and deep, like you're drawing circles on the wall behind you. Maybe you want to go forwards and backwards. Whatever you're doing, you can start to get your body involved as well. So we're getting into the spine. We're kind of loosening up. We just want to get those fluids flowing around our body. Just start to get a little bit of movement. Start to warm up our joints, start to warm up our muscles. So you can also start to take this now into circles. So we're pushing the chest forward as we come forward. We're arching the back, creating a C shape with the spine as we come back. And again, this doesn't have to be a regimented movement. You can really let loose with this movement and kind of work into what your body needs. And this is the only time in the entire class that I'm going to say in a seated position, it's okay to lift those hips off the ground. So make the most of it. Give yourself that wiggle around, getting into the spine, the shoulders, the neck. Give yourself that little bit of a freestyle movement. You're going to start to feel that body just loosening a little bit. Keep that breath flowing as well. Make it deep, make it indulgent. Let's give ourselves one more inhale here. And as we exhale, you're going to drop that left hand behind you like a secondary spine. Your right hand is going to come to the outside of your left knee. Sit tall as you inhale, draw the navel inwards. Exhale, push that knee away and gaze over your left shoulder. So when we are twisting, we are compressing our organs, so we're releasing any toxins. When we release the twist, we're allowing fresh blood to run through our organs. So spinal twist, good way to release tension, good way to loosen up the spine, really good for back pain, good for sciatica. Deep breath, inhale. And exhale to push against that right knee, gaze all the way behind you. Get deep with every breath. Gently bring yourself back to center, drop your right hand behind you, left hand comes to the outside of the right knee. Sit tall as you inhale, drop the shoulders, exhale to push that knee away. Gazing all the way behind you. So that back arm, you want to use that as a support post, not a leaning post. So try not to slump backwards, as tempting as that might be. Try and get deeper into that twist with every breath. You want to aim to look at the wall behind you or whatever it is behind you. One more here. Gently pulling yourself back to center. Drop the left hand in line with the left hip and the right hand comes up and over. Reach those right fingertips towards the left side of the room. And I want you to now plant those bum cheeks. Imagine someone has super glued your bum to the mat and they are not allowed to lift. If you want to drop that left forearm onto the mat, then please do. So what we're stretching here, from the right hip to the right fingertip, you're giving yourself a nice lateral stretch. So we're still stretching the spine, but it's not a forward fold, it's not a back bend. We're giving it a stretch through the side. Imagine energy really reaching out with those right fingertips. Keep the shoulders down and the neck long, and that top half of the body nice and as though it's squashed between two panes of glass. Nice and aligned. Give me one more breath. Walk the hands all the way around. The right hand in line with the right hip. The left arm comes up and over. Push into the left hip. If you want to drop down onto your forearm, please do, but make sure the bum cheeks are glued down. Reach those left fingers. Imagine someone's grabbing hold of your fingers and pulling you. Really feeling energy coming from those fingertips. Deep breath, inhale. And exhale, your arm should be in line with your ear. Left arm in line with left ear. Deep breath. Gently dropping yourself back to center and bringing your hands in front. You're going to untuck the legs and bring yourself into your all fours position. So stack your joints, knees under hips, wrists under shoulders, and feet. You can either have tops of the feet on the mat or you can tuck the toes. So whatever feels better for you, we're all different. And a pose will feel completely different to you than it does to me, which is why you've got to make that choice yourself. Just see which one feels best for you. Keeping that spine nice and flat, and you want to kind of dome your palms. So try not to leave them completely flat so you're not ramming into your wrists. Just giving a kind of little claw shape. Pull the navel in, engage your core. So remember, we're putting on a tight pair of jeans, but don't hold your breath. Tight pair of jeans, but still breathing. And really breathe into your body. Feel that energy growing between your palms, your knees, and the tops of your feet. Inhale. And exhale. Keep that spine flat. Imagine I put a hot cup of tea on your back and you cannot spill it. Inhale. And exhale. And as you inhale, start to drop that navel to the floor. Gaze up towards the sky, hollowing out your lower back. Exhale to pull the navel inwards, crown of the head towards the floor. And again, inhale into your cow pose, heart center open. And exhale to spread the shoulders, reversing the arch, cat pose. So if you want to continue here in your cat-cow, then please do. It's mobilizing the spine and it's also a really, really good one for lower back pain. And the reason being is that it kind of neutralizes our spine. So we're arching in such complete opposite directions that our spine is kind of warmed up, it's mobilized, but it's neutral, it's in the middle, it's been stretched both ways. And that's what we always want to do. So if you're freestyling this movement, feel free to get into other areas, not just your spine. So maybe you just want to get your wiggle on, get nice and wiggly here. Use your breath to push you into the corners of your body that need to be loosened up. Maybe you have a particular point you want to focus on. Backs of arms is always a good one. Maybe you want to drop down into your cobra, get deeper into that lower back. Maybe you just want to sit in your child's pose, your balasana, that's fine as well. Whatever feels best for you. And using your breath to flow through this movement. So, as I say every night, this is a really lovely thing to do. If you ever have a day that you're just not feeling like you want to do a full class or a big stretch, you don't feel well, you don't have the energy, you're not in a great mood, do this for a couple of minutes when you wake up, after a shower, before you go to bed. It's a really nice way to just get the fluids flowing. Sometimes that's all our body needs. It can calm you down, it can help you get ready for sleep, it can wake you up in the morning. A little bit of movement goes a long way. So you really only have to do it for a couple of minutes. So getting that wiggle on. And then you're going to bring yourself back to center. Draw the big toes together and part the knees. Sit your bum on your heels and reach the arms out in front, dropping your forehead to the mat in your Balasana, your child's pose. So the reason we're dropping down in our child's pose, we're only going to hold for a breath, is because it is a really good one for lower back pain. So if you do ever feel really, really intense lower back pain, you can take a child's pose. It will help release that. Deep breath. Bring yourself back into your all fours position. Tuck your toes under. Inhale. As you exhale, you're going to push the sit bones towards the sky and bring yourself into your downward facing dog. So downward facing dog. Pull the navel in towards the spine. You want a nice straight back from your tailbone all the way down to your fingers. Spread the fingers and pull the shoulders from the ears, externally rotating the shoulder girdle. So we want to externally rotate the shoulders to avoid any rotator cuff injuries. Drop the head between the arms. And if you want to, bend your knees, absolutely bend your knees, especially at the beginning of the class when we're not properly warmed up. Maybe even bicycle the legs, give yourself a little bit of movement. So as I always say, it's much better to have bent knees and a straight spine, then force the heels to the earth, straighten the legs and curve your back. We definitely don't want that. That's how we get lower back pain. That's how we get hip pain. That's how we get injuries in our hamstrings. So I'm a bent knee advocate. Bend the knees if you need to. Your heels absolutely do not need to be on the ground. If they make it there, that's absolutely beautiful. But if they don't force them. No pose is worth an injury, and you're still doing down dog, even if you have bent knees, even if your heels are lifted. I'm going to bend my knees with you because my legs are feeling very tight today. So now we're going to roll onto the balls of our feet on our inhale, lift the heels. And as you exhale, you're going to start to draw the heels towards the earth. Remember, they don't have to meet the earth. Again, inhale, we raise on our heels. So this is a good one for releasing the hamstrings and the calves. And lower. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Inhale, we lift. And exhale, we lower. Take a breath. Roll forward into a high plank. Engage your core here. Wrists under shoulders, body in a straight line. Take a breath and start to lower the knees towards the mat. As you do, send your bum back towards your heels and up into your downward facing dog. And again, we roll forward, high plank, knees, bum and down dog, and plank, knees, bum, down dog, and plank. A little bit faster, knees, bum and down dog. Let's go for 3 more, plank, knees, bum, down dog, and plank, knees, bum and down dog. And let's bring ourselves back into our high plank. Hold your plank. If you've got really bad wrists, drop onto your forearms. Your core will work harder, and thank you. Also gives your wrists a break. So from our plank position, you can either hold here, or we're going to drop our knees. So what I mean by that is we're going to go like we're marching. We're going to do 10. We're going to go 10, 9, 8, 7. Engage the core. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Really nice. Pop all of your weight onto the left side and step into your side plank, reaching the right arm up. Stack the shoulders, wrist to wrist in a straight line. So you can stay here in your full side plank, or you can drop the left knee to the mat. So that's going to give you a little bit of support. If you want to, you can hover that top leg, your right leg. You can also take hold of your right leg with your right hand. Wherever you are, you're going to hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Step back into your plank position, pushing up into your downward facing dog. Take a deep breath here. Reach the right leg up towards the sky into your 3-legged dog. So from here, you can either stay in your 3-legged dog. You can bend the right knee, gazing underneath the right armpit, opening up your hip. Or you can walk the whole way over into your wild thing pose if you have that in your practice. Wherever you are, we hold for 3,
2, and 1. Wild things, everybody. Back to your three-legged dog. Take the right knee, pass it underneath the body, and straighten that right leg out, reaching the left arm up. Fallen triangle pose. So I'm going to show you what that looks like from the front. Left foot and right hand on the mat. Right leg is out in front. Reach the left arm up. Hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Step back, high plank. Really nice. Take a breath here. And we're going to do our knees again. So ready? Engage that core. Let's go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Keep that core engaged. 3, 2, and 1. Really nice. Bring yourself over onto the right hand side now. Side plank. Reaching that left arm all the way up. Stack those hips. If you want to, you can drop that bottom knee. So you're kind of in a gate pose. Try and keep your hips nice and aligned. So you can also bring your hand onto your hip and make sure shoulder and hand are in a straight line. If you want to, remember you can hover that top leg. You can take hold of your left foot with your left hand and straighten it out. Take a balance. Let's hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Step back into your high plank position. Deep breath. And as you exhale, downward facing dog. The left leg comes all the way up towards the sky. Three-legged dog. So you can hold here. Or you can bend the left knee, gazing underneath the left armpit. If you want to, you can walk that left leg the whole way over. Bring yourself into your wild thing pose. Wherever you are, we're going to hold for 3, 2, 1. Wild things back. Into your three-legged dog. Take that left leg. Send it underneath the body. Straight the left leg. Reach the right arm up. Fallen triangle. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Stepping back into your high plank position. Drop the knees, heels together, knees apart. And take a child's pose. Deep breath. Inhale. And exhale. Remembering that resetting and resting the body is as important as activating it. So in your child's pose now, I want you to lift your head and gaze straight ahead between your hands. We're going to start to send our chest along the mat. And as we do, we send our bums up towards the sky. This is your extended puppy. Pull that navel inwards. So here we're stretching our shoulders, our abdomen, our chest, and our hamstrings. So again, feet can be tops of the feet down or tucked under, whatever works for you. Pull the navel in, gaze straight ahead. Deep breath, inhale. And exhale. This pose can be horrible or really nice depending on what parts of your body are flexible, what parts of your body are not. Take a breath. And as you exhale, gently pull yourself along the mat. Actually, that works for all poses. Some poses will feel so lovely to you because maybe you've got super open hips, and not so lovely to someone else. So bring yourself into your Sphinx pose. So our forearms are on the mat. Gaze straight ahead, drop the shoulders and lengthen that neck, heart center open. So we're going to work into our lower back. This is another really good one for lower back pain. It's also good for your posture, which connects to your pelvic floor and your core. So push those hips down, and we're going to turn this from an upper body stretch into a full body stretch. So pointing the toes, engage the legs. The knees are going to lift from the mat, and you're going to feel that in your glutes, your hamstrings, your lower back, your bums. They're all going to be nice and tense. So remember to keep that engagement. If you're happy here, lovely. If you want to go a little deeper, we're going to lift into a baby cobra. So lifting your forearms slightly, pull the hands back. Remember to keep those elbows pushed into your side, nice and streamlined, like a snake. Or you can come into a full cobra, so bring the hands even further back. That's going to get nice and deep into your spine. If you've got a deep back bend, that will feel quite lovely for you. Deep breath here. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. Gently drop yourself down onto the mat.
Bring your arms down on either side of your body. So you kind of are like a snake here, like completely streamlined. We're going to come into our locus pose. So 3 options here. Option 1, on your exhale, you're going to lift the head, the shoulders, the neck, and the arms. Option 2, you're going to lift the legs as well. And option 3, you're going to reach the arms out in front in line with your ears. Whichever option you choose, I want you to engage that pelvic floor. This pose is amazing for building pelvic floor strength. And one of the things I want you guys to make sure you're doing, when we do pelvic floor and core, you'll find that you might want to hold your breath. Don't hold your breath, breathe through it. Keep the muscles engaged, but breathe through it. Don't hold your breath at all. That's only going to make it harder. And we're going to hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop the arms down by your side. Left ear to the mat and gaze to the right. And right ear to the mat and gaze to the left. Bring your arms back to the front, pushing yourself up into a cobra or an upward facing dog, whatever works for you. Tuck the toes and push back. Downward facing dog. Take a breath and on the exhale, walk your feet forward towards your hands. Bring yourself into your Uttanasana, your forward fold. And I'm going to ask you here to bend your knees, feet facing the front. So the reason that I'm asking you to bend your knees is the same reason that I do in down dog, is to protect your lower back and your hamstrings. So you'll find that if you have really straight legs, you're probably going to lock the knees. And as you hang forward, it's more likely we're going to be in this position with a curve in the spine, which we want to avoid. When we soften our knees, not like bend them lows, but when we soften our knees, we can keep our spine straight and we can drop the torso forward onto the thighs. Over time, as our flexibility and our hamstrings and our hips grow, we can straighten the legs and continue to keep that straight back. So if you think I could always do this, you're wrong. And so keeping those knees slightly bent, spine straight, you're just going to tuck the hands underneath the big toes. Pull the crown of the head towards the floor. We're lengthening through our spine. This is a good one to do before and after a run. It's also really good for your spine, lower back pain. Deep breath in here. And exhale. Untuck the hands, and as you inhale, you're going to roll up through the spine, keeping that chin tucked in till the very last moment, unraveling like a chain link. Nice and indulgent. Bring yourself to standing. Arms down by your side. Stand nice and tall in your Tadasana, your mountain pose. Just going to quickly adjust the camera for Facebook. Feet facing straight ahead, engaging your legs isometrically. And bringing the arms down by your side, dropping the shoulders, fingers pointing towards the mat. Pull your pelvic floor in, engage your core. And keeping your joints stacked. So that sounds really obvious. You want ankles under knees, under hips, under shoulders, joints stacked. You'd be surprised how many of us stand like this, sticking our bums out. Or stand like this, creating a shelf with our hips. So when we do that, our pelvis is not neutral. Neutral pelvis is exactly what our body wants. That's kind of the cauldron, the center of the body. And when our body is not neutral, that's when we get aches and pains. Our body wants to be neutral. So in yoga, we can put ourselves in all these amazing positions. As long as we bring ourselves back to a neutral body. How do we do that? Counter poses, counter stretches, and then resetting our body, making sure that we are resetting our posture when we come to standing. So stack those joints. You can put a hand on either side of your pelvis if you want to, and just rock the pelvis through so it's nice and central and neutral. Maybe visualize it as a glass of water that you don't want to spill. So if you're sticking your bum out, you're spilling water down the front. If you're sticking your bum in, you're spilling water down the back. Neutral pelvis, arms by your side, stand tall, mountain pose. Deep breath, inhale. As you exhale, reach the arms up in line with the ears. Bend the knees, send the bum back. You don't want the knees to go over the toes. Bring yourself into your chair pose. Engage the core here. Chair pose. So Really, really good for your core and your pelvic floor strength. Make sure the knees don't go past the toes. You want to have 80% of your weight in your heels and the rest in your hip sockets. So much weight in your heels that if you lift your toes, you're not going to change position. Deep breath here with every exhale. Try and sit deeper into that imaginary chair. So you're going to feel this in your core, your pelvic floor. You're going to feel it in your glutes. Deep breath. So it's kind of like a squat. Pull the shoulders down away from the ears. Take a breath. And as you exhale, you're going to step back with the right foot, bring yourself into a high lunge. Left knee above left ankle, hips under shoulders, arms in line with the ears. Good for your balance, good for nice healthy knees. Deep breath here, inhale. As you exhale, you're going to turn the right foot out and bring the arms in line with the shoulders, warrior two. Tucking the tailbone under and pulling the pelvic floor up, so engage the pelvic floor here as well. Gaze down your front fingertips. Take a breath. Start to hinge forward with your left hand and turn both palms outwards. Straighten the front leg, straighten the back leg, hinge all the way forward and bring yourself into your extended triangle pose. Pulling up with that right hand, reaching towards the sky. If you want to make sure your hips are aligned, you can bring your hand into the small of your back, kind of taking a little half bind. Or you can put your right hand on your right hip, and if your shoulder and your hand are in a straight line, your hips are nice and aligned. Remember that that left hand doesn't have to be in line with your ankle. If that's just not in your practice, it can be anywhere on your leg as long as your arms and shoulders are aligned. Also try not to lock out the knees, which for me is the hardest part of triangle pose. And if you are uncomfortable in this position, then it probably means you are doing it right. Triangle pose is really good for our alignment, which means it's good for our lower back pain. So this may be an uncomfortable pose, but if you're doing it right, it's going to really, really help with any lower back pain. It's going to help with posture issues. It's going to help with alignment. A really good way to practice this is against a wall. And I'm talking to try and take your mind off it. Let's take a deep breath. Windmill those hands round on either side of that front foot. Bend the left knee. Turn the right foot to face straight ahead. Step back into a high plank position. And from here, you can either push straight back up into your downward dog or tuck the elbows in, come down through your chaturanga. Push forward, upward facing with the tops of the feet on the mat, and exhale into your downward facing dog. Gaze straight ahead and start to walk those feet forward between the hands. Bend the knees, tuck the hands underneath the toes. Uttanasana, forward fold with your feet, with your hands under your feet. Deep breaths, lengthening our spine here. Remember those knees soft, torso on your thighs, spine straight. And on your next inhale, untuck the hands, start to unravel like a chain link, chin tucked into at the very last moment. Rolling, rolling all the way up to standing, feet facing straight ahead. Drop the shoulders, arms down by your side. Inhale, exhale, mountain pose. Engaging the legs isometrically, stack your joints, neutral pelvis, arms down by your side. It's going to start to become second nature. Try not to lock out the knees. Chin and head in line with the rest of your body. Take a breath. As you exhale, reach the arms in line with the ears, sit into your chair pose. So bringing the legs to 90 degrees, send the hips backwards, weight into the heels and the hip sockets, knees don't go past the toes. You can lift the toes as well, always lift the toes in chair pose so I can keep, make sure the weight is in my heels. Engaging the core, engaging the pelvic floor. Deep breath, inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And as you exhale, step back with the left. Bring yourself into a high lunge. Hips under shoulders. Knee above ankle. If you want to give that back knee a little bend, then by all means do. We're working into our balance, strengthening our legs, making our knees nice and healthy here. Deep breath, inhale. As you exhale, turn the left foot out. Bring the arms in line with your shoulders. Warrior two. Gaze down those front fingertips. I'm following notes today. Very unprofessional of me.
Gaze down those front fingertips, take a breath. Turn the palms to face outwards. And you're just going to start to hinge forward. And as you do, straighten both legs. Try not to lock out the knees and drop that right hand forward. So right hand is going to try and make its way towards the ankle, but it doesn't have to get to the ankle. It can be anywhere on that leg as long as the shoulders and the arms are nice and aligned. Pulling up through those left fingers, making sure those hips are aligned so you can bring that hand into the small of the back if you want to. You can also put the hand on the hip to make sure there's a straight line. So what I want you to imagine in this pose is that you've been put in a toaster. That's how aligned you want to be. You are a slice of toast. Reach up with those left fingers, deep breath, inhale. As you exhale, windmill the hands around on either side of that front foot. Bend the right knee, turn the left foot in, and step back into your high plank. And either pushing straight back on your exhale into your downward dog, or tuck the elbows in, exhale through your chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing. Deep breath. Walk the feet out here. Gaze straight ahead and step, float or jump through to a seated position on your mats. Bring your feet in front of you with your knees bent. Feet flat. Drop your hands behind you and just straighten your back here. Engaging your core. We're going to bring ourselves into our boat pose. So you've got three options here. Option number one, using your arms to support you, you're going to bring the legs into a tabletop position. So you've got your arms there. Try not to rely on them. Try and still lift with your chest, engage the core and work into this area to keep your balance. Try not to lean completely back with your arms. You can also bring your arms out in line with your legs, so you're balancing on the sit bones, you're lifting through the core. Or if you want to go even further, you can straighten the legs here. So we're going to get that engagement in our legs. 2, point the toes, arms in line wherever you are. Try and keep that spine straight, shoulders down, core engaged. Let's go to 10. Yep. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Wherever you are, bend the knees, and we're going to start to bring ourselves back. Bringing the spine to the mat, sacrum first, so small of the back first. Slow motion, engage the core. Lifting the feet still, so the feet are hovering about 10-20 centimeters off the mat. Reach those fingers down towards your toes. Engage the core, lift the head and the shoulders. We're going to hold here, dish pose for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop yourself down onto the mat. Take a breath, inhale. And exhale. And we're just going to drop one more little pose in for our core. It's good for lower back pain and it's good for our pelvic floor. So you guys probably know we're going to do our shoulder bridge. So you're going to draw your feet in towards your bums, bend the knees. Feet and knees want to be parallel like train tracks and push the small of the back into the mat to begin with, just to get that straight line. When we push the small of the back into the mat, you're probably going to get a very, very gentle tilt to the pelvis that's only really noticeable to you. Palms down on either side of your hips. Drop the shoulders, head, neck, shoulder, and spine nice and straight. Deep breath. On your exhale, start to send those hips up towards the sky as though someone has a piece of string through your pelvis. Walk the shoulders together, interlacing the fingers and lift the hips high. Keep your feet flat. Keep those knees and feet parallel. Try not to bow them out. If you bow them to the side, you're going to lose that engagement in your glutes, in your hamstrings. So our shoulder bridge, obviously really good for our shoulders, good for practicing back bend, so it also helps with lower back pain. It's good for our core muscles. So you can also do a version of supported shoulder bridge, which is really good for anxiety, insomnia, and stress. And what you would do for that is push blocks or cushions underneath the small of your back to keep the hips high. And some people say if you hold that for 5 minutes every day, it can help with symptoms of depression and digestive issues. So our shoulder bridge is also really good for our pelvic floor. So particularly if you're pregnant or you've had a baby, this is a good one for practicing your Kegels. So your pelvic floor squeezes. It's also really good for strengthening our glutes, our hamstrings, our bums. It's a bit of an all-rounder. Let's keep it up for 5, 4, 3, 2, keep that breath flowing, and 1, release the hands gently, slowly peel yourself back down onto the mat. And you're going to draw your knees towards you and take hold of your big toes with your fingers. And you're just going to rock in your happy baby pose. So happy baby pose again is also really good for your pelvic floor. Deep breath. And exhale. Gently rocking here. If this feels uncomfortable, it can make you feel a little bit vulnerable, this pose, because it kind of is a very open pose. You can just hug your knees into your chest in your Arpanasana to release the spine. And then we're going to drop our arms out on either side of the mat, and you're going to draw your knees towards you, so towards your chest, and then start to drop them over to the right. So you want to try, as you drop your knees to the right, to make sure your knees are above your pelvis, so they're lifted slightly. The reason we do that is just to protect the lower back. So gazing to the left, and the legs are to the right. So always looking in the opposite direction of the legs, unless that gives you any neck pain, in which case do not do it. Deep breath, inhale. As you exhale, you're going to roll the knees all the way over to the left, gaze to the right. Again, make sure the knees are a little bit higher than your pelvis. Gazing down those right fingertips. So in our supine twist, in our reclined twist, we are just releasing the spine. Gently bring yourself back to center. Draw your feet together like palms. And start to drop those knees open on the mat in your Supta Baddha Konasana, so your reclined bound angle pose. So hands can either be on your inner thighs, gently pushing the hips open, pushing the legs open, pushing the knees towards the earth. Or if you feel like they are just as open as they want to be, you can create a little heart shape with your finger and thumb, and just rest that on your pelvis, feel your breath. So our Supta Baddha Konasana, or our bound angle pose, both reclined and upright, is really opening the hips. It gives you that wide open feeling. It increases blood flow to the pelvic floor. Ladies, it's really, really good for menstrual cramps, this and upright Baddha Konasana. And also, apparently, if you practice this pose regularly or through your pregnancy, childbirth will be a lot easier. So that's obviously really, really good. So gently pushing those knees apart, and men as well. It has really great benefits for you guys as well. So I'm just mentioning what it has benefited for me. So just gently pushing those knees apart, really opening your hips. And this is a really nice hip opener because it's not super forceful. You might find that things like pigeon pose really force your hips open, whereas this is a lot more subtle, it's a lot more calming, it's a lot more relaxing, it's a nice restorative pose. Deep breath, we inhale and exhale, gently pushing into those thighs. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to get ourselves ready for our Shavasana. So we're just going to tune back into our breath. We're going to practice our Kumbhaka breath, which is a little bit of breath retention. So we've done it the last few nights, and what the aim of it is to just calm us down, ready for our relaxation. And if you don't plan on taking Shavasana, maybe try the breath retention, because it can be nice to do in the evening before bed anyway, to just chill you out. So what we're going to do is we're going to inhale for 2, 3, and 4. Then we exhale 2, 3, and 4. Then we hold 2, 3, 4. Again, inhale 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath 2, 3,
4. Keep it going with your own rhythm. And if it feels uncomfortable for you, then absolutely don't do it. Just enjoy your Baddha Konasana. But if you want to try it, inhale. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. 2, 3, 4. Once more. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. 2, 3, 4. Feel free to continue if you want to, or return to your normal yogic breathing. And you're going to start to straighten yourself out on the mat, ready for your Shavasana. So finding a comfortable position. If you have a really deep bend in the back, maybe you do want to bring your feet flat and bend the knees, or pop something underneath the small of your back. If you guys want to grab anything for your Shavasana, please feel free. So blankets, socks, cushions, jumpers, drink of water, dim the lights, got music on, whatever you want to do. And then you're going to bring yourself back down onto the mat into your corpse pose, your Shavasana, which is lying on your back, or wherever feels comfortable for you, really. You're going to close the eyes. And again, as always, if you don't want to stay for Shavasana, that's absolutely fine. I know it's not in everyone's practice, but when we're practicing from home, I'd say it's probably the best place to try it, because you're not distracted by other people, you're in your own space, you can really relax, you can really kind of sink into your mat and let go. And try not to think of Shavasana as a meditation. So for me, it is more just time for yourself. It's relaxation, it is time without your phone, time without anyone bothering you, time to shut off your thoughts if you want to, or just time to just be, which even if it's just for a few minutes, I find very, very difficult to find for myself in this day and age. So hopefully you guys will take advantage of that. So when you're ready, you're going to bring yourself down onto your mat. Open your palms, open your feet. Close your eyes and allow yourself to pull down, sinking into the mat. And maybe you're still working on your Kumbhaka breath, your breath retention, and maybe you've returned to your yogic breath. So a deep inhale through the nose. And exhale. Whichever breath you are doing, we are breathing consciously. And when we breathe consciously rather than intuitively, we activate the evolved part of our brain, so our cerebral cortex. And what that does is it allows us to feel relaxed and calm. So when we consciously breathe, that is the effect that we are getting. So maybe you want to take that imaginary broom to sweep the mind clear of any clutter, any wandering thoughts. Make space for your breath. Check in with your intention from the beginning of the class. And then let go of it, even if it wasn't something that you achieved. And then draw your attention towards your feet. Feel them fall open on the mat. Each toe unraveling one by one. Ankles, calves, knees and thighs lightweight on the mat. All the way up to the base of your spine, and feeling each vertebrae unravel one by one. Trickling down into the mat. All the way up to your shoulders, and feeling those shoulder blades pull down away from your ear. Allowing the spine to lengthen even more. Allowing your neck to lengthen. Creating space between the shoulders and the ears. Allow your arms to fall open as though the batteries have been taken out of you. Palms open and fingers unraveled. And as you come back to your shoulders, your neck, and your head, your facial features start to soften as your thoughts evaporate and your head becomes light. Unlock your jaw, unclench your back teeth, and drop the tongue down away from the roof of the mouth. Parting your lips and allowing your breath to escape. And finally draw your attention towards your chest and your abdomen and that slow and steady rise and fall of your breath. And just take a few moments to let everything go, to sink into your mouth as you inhale and exhale. And gently wiggle your fingers and your toes to draw awareness back into your body. Hugging your knees in towards your chest and gently rocking from side to side to release your spine on the mat. And bring yourself all the way over onto the right hand side into a fetal position. And then gently placing your hands on the mat and starting to lift your body, allowing your head to come up last. And bring yourself into a seated position, wherever is comfortable for you. Palms on your knees, drop the shoulders, take a deep breath, inhale. Big exhale, let out a sigh. And again, inhale. And exhale. And once more for luck, inhale. And exhale. Draw your palms together at your heart center. Thank you guys all so much for practicing with me this evening. I hope you have a lovely rest of your Saturday. Namaste. So tomorrow it is Sunday, which means you guys have got 2 classes. You've got 10:15 a.m. Rise and Shine flow. We'll do a full body flow. It'll be nice, juicy, energizing vinyasa. It'll probably go quite fast paced, not like today. It was a little bit slower than usual. It's only on Zoom, so Facebook people, you're very welcome to join, but you must sign up via the Outparks website for that class. And then tomorrow evening on Facebook and Zoom, same time as always, restorative, restore and recharge Sunday night, ready for the week. So hopefully see you guys at either one of those or both tomorrow. Have a lovely Saturday evening, and yeah, see you all soon. Oh, and as always, if you guys do have things, so for next week, the only thing that I've got that somebody requested on Thursday was to work into something for your knees and wrists, or something specifically for cyclists. So we probably will do that at some point next week. But any other ideas that you guys have or things that you want to go over again, do let me know. Okay, everybody, I am going to sign off. Have a lovely evening.